Hi, everybody. This is Heather Clark. I have a Facebook page called Running Totally Free in High Heels. And normally you would find me here with my husband, Michael Clark. This is our YouTube channel, Running Totally Free. You can find him at his Facebook page, Running Totally Free. So today I thought I would talk about our life with one car. The first week of February, we made the decision to sell his vehicle and to go down to one vehicle. And my husband is the breadwinner of the family, so naturally he would need to use the vehicle to get to work. My husband works in Atlanta, and we are in a suburb of Atlanta called Locust Grove, which is approximately 30 something miles away from Atlanta. My husband probably works, I might guess, like 70 hours a week. He usually, here's a typical day. He might leave at 2:30 in the afternoon and get home at 3:30 in the morning. And he works 5 days a week. He usually has 2 days off during a week. However, we often find that he will spend some of that time fielding phone calls, working on schedules, and various other things. So that's typical for him. And I am a homeschooling mom, so I can be found at home teaching my children, and we also have a 14-month-old baby. So I'm also juggling nap times and dirty diapers, a tremendous amount of wash and that kind of thing. So we are tethered to home to a certain degree anyhow. So we felt that this may be a pretty easy transition because I don't work outside of the home to bring in an income. So we thought, let's jump in and we'll give it a try. So that was the first week of February, and now we find ourselves in mid-March. What we have found, my first impression, I would say, was that we've had to really work to be good schedulers. In the restaurant business, as far as my experience has been ever since I've married my husband, generally he will know his schedule a week, maybe 2 weeks ahead of time. So I will generally know a week ahead of time what his schedule will be, meaning what his leave time will be each day of the coming week. So for instance, a day or two ago, I found out that he would have to leave for work at, I want to say 7:30, no, I'm sorry, 10:30 this morning. He'll leave at, I want to say 3 o'clock tomorrow morning because they have inventory, 10:30 on Thursday morning, and I forget for Friday and Saturday. So to give you a general idea, that's what his leave times will be. Interestingly, since we started sharing one vehicle, his leave times have become earlier and earlier and earlier. However, his coming home times have not changed. So I'm not able to then use the vehicle when he comes home in the middle of the night. So I have been having to make sure that I am up and ready, prepared to get out the door and go use the car before he leaves for work. So an example of how we've handled that is this morning, I got up, I had my breakfast, I quickly made breakfast for the kids, got my exercise routine completed, and I had already prepared the night before a card that we give the teller when we withdraw our money to fill our envelopes, our cash envelopes. We are on the Dave Ramsey system, if this is the first time you've heard me speak or us speak. and because that was one of the errands I needed to complete today. And then I had already put the money in my purse that I would need for my other errands, and quickly got Gabe in the car and went to the bank and got the money for our cash envelope system, and then went over to the Dollar Tree to pick up a couple items that we needed, and quickly drove home so that then we could tag team and Michael could then take the car to work, and we could say a quick goodbye to each other, and then he could take the car to work. Tomorrow I will be homebound. I won't see him at all. And then on Thursday, again, I will need to wake up, have my breakfast as quick as I can. I'll probably need to be out the door by 7 o'clock in the morning to hit Walmart, Target, Publix, and Aldi, and be home by 10:15 so we can unload all the groceries so that Michael can get out the door to get to work, because he has to be able to leave by 10:30 to get to work. It used to be that I could he didn't have to leave till 1:30 on Thursdays, and I was able to even fit a visit to the library on Thursdays. I would get all of my grocery shopping done and go to the library on Thursdays. Now I'm not able to even go to the library, and I have to get up earlier on Thursdays now to get all of that done. So I'm not really sure what that's all about. That has not been easy. I think that's probably right now my biggest frustration. And I really have to confess that I have not handled that well emotionally. So let me backtrack a little bit here. Being that we're at home, and I'm not really a person who I'm an introverted person, and I don't do really well with running. I shouldn't say this that way. I don't want to say running around a lot, because I know that for some people, having a certain amount of commitments feeds them. They're extroverted, and so to be around, to be committed to many activities actually feeds them, and I don't know what the word is, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Introverts and extroverts just work differently. I'm an introverted person, so there's I can only extend myself so much, and then I start to feel just worn out. So I don't need to be out too much, anyhow. And I really shouldn't say too much, but I only need to be out so much before I actually need to be home. And so I knew that I would be okay. But then there came a point where, I don't know, maybe the end of March, where I started to feel like I was living in a cave. And maybe it was because it seemed like we were getting sick a lot. I feel like we've been sick all year. Every time we have a break, we get sick. It seems ridiculous. So I felt like we were just inside all the time. And that's been the fact that we don't have a car, and I couldn't get out, just to go to the park, kind of tiring of our playground. And that was really wearing on my nerves. A good friend of mine, Andrea, has graciously come and picked us up and brought us to her house, and that's really helped a lot. And our neighbor, Melanie, and Rob, they've allowed us to borrow their car and use it to take the kids up to church on Wednesdays, and that has helped so much for my mental, state. So that has contributed to me feeling a little more normal, I guess. So I'm so grateful for that. That will stop during the summer because there won't be kids' church during the summer, but we will have the pool open, so that will help. So I will say that there's been a bit of cabin fever for me. Even though I'm introverted, there's only so much even an introvert can take of being in their home. Being able to go outside, we have a great backyard. You guys have probably seen pictures here and there on Facebook. That has helped. So I think that when fellow mothers can appreciate that there are certain times in our cycle when we feel a little bit more nuts than others, and those are usually like those breaking point moments when I'm texting madly to my husband saying I can't take this anymore. Well, I had one of those moments this past, it wasn't Saturday, I don't know, Thursday, and our TV screen wouldn't come on anymore. Our Gabe, he poured water on our computer keyboard. This all happened at the same time. And something else happened too, and I don't remember what it was. And I nearly had a brain aneurysm. I mean, it was like I thought I was going to lose my mind because honestly, if if I'm stuck in the house all the time and I can't get away, like, you know, when I'm feeling PMSy, you know, by letting them watch something like a video, because we don't do a lot of that. So when I can't rely on that as a break, occasionally, then what? You know, madness ensues, meaning my madness. So I lost it. I mean, I really lost it. So the good news is that when I went garage sailing on Saturday, I found a TV, guys, a 32-inch flat screen TV for $30, and it was perfect. I mean, it's beautiful. And then we found, I think that same day, or maybe it was it's the next day, a DVD player at Walmart for $35. So that was great because I have to have that. We don't even have Netflix. We don't have cable. I mean, it's bad. It's bad right now. So I thought that that when Michael got his bonus, we've spoken about that in previous YouTube channel episodes. I don't know what you call them. We talked about the possibility of getting a car once he got his bonus, and that didn't work out. Once we figured out our, you know, increasing what do you call it? Our tax contributions, you know, we were going to take some of, not, I don't know, we were going to start taking less. I forget, guys, you know what I'm talking about. We were going to we were going to decrease that so that we would have more in our paycheck. We realized we really didn't have enough still coming back to us that we would be able to pay for gas and insurance for a second car. And the bonus really wasn't going to pay for a car that wasn't going to give us trouble. It was and then on top of it, we both Michael and myself had dental work that needed to be done. And we also had, as you may have seen on Facebook, we had to replace a kitchen faucet because ours broke. And the next bonus check also will not cover a car. So it looks as though we're going to have to wait for when Michael becomes a general manager, and there is not a date in sight for that. So there really isn't a set a promised time for me to have a car to drive of my own. And never in my life since I was 17 have I not had a car. And I'm 41 years old, and this is really, really weird. So God in his goodness spoke to me very clearly about this, I don't know, a week or two ago in one of my better times. And I really felt like it was about this. And it was really cool. It was from a wonderful website called She Reads Truth. And I want to read to you what it said. And it was about when Israel prepares to leave Egypt. It's based on when God used Moses to lead the for 18 through 31 in Exodus 5, 1 through 23. And it says, when was the last time you had one of those days when things seemed to go from bad to worse? My most recent one started with a phone call from my mother. She called to tell me my grandmother had only a few hours left to live. I immediately picked up my laptop, abandoned my latte, and headed out of the coffee shop, rushing to get home and start packing. I drove into the edge of the parking lot when a passerby mimed for me to roll down the car window. Your tire, he said. You know it's flat. Yeah, grandmother passed away. It was sudden, shocking. The older I get, the more I brace myself for times like these. When it rains, they say it pours. And when things are hard, it's possible they're about to get a whole lot harder. Things were bad for the Israelites. Enslaved, baking bricks in the hot sun, suffering from ridicule, racism, and genocide. The news Moses brought was like salve to their ears. Hearing that the Lord saw and remembered them, had seen their misery, and was concerned about them, they bowed down and worshiped him. She refers to Exodus 4:31. But little did they know, things were about to go from bad to worse. The Lord's plan was coming into fruition, though it wasn't all rosy. The signs I am gave Moses included blood and snakes and leprosy. And as Moses opened his mouth to speak, he watched Pharaoh's grip tighten around the necks of the Israelites, the people he'd been sent to save. Can you imagine? The situation was so ridiculous, so absolutely fraught with hatred. I wonder if any of the Israelites had to laugh in the midst of their tears. They were already slaves, already broken, ridiculed, and beaten. And now this, no straw? Forcing a slave to gather his own straw was like asking a construction worker to make his own boards. The rug was being pulled out from under the Israelites, and let's be clear, God was doing the pulling, not because he was cruel or cold-hearted or enjoyed watching them suffer. He did it because he loved the Israelites too much to leave them in slavery. After living under Pharaoh's oppression for so long, enslavement had started to feel normal. It had become the everyday rhythm of the Israelites' lives. They had forgotten what it means to be free. So God's first step in freeing them was to make slavery even more unbearable. In his mercy, he lifted the veil from their eyes and made it clear there was no future for them in Egypt. God does the same for us. His concern and love for us dictate that he use all means necessary to wake us out of the acceptance of our own slavery to comparison and greed, lust and selfishness and joylessness, whatever it may be. In his mercy, God refuses to let us bear it any longer. Now here's a hard truth. God's mercy does not require his treatment of us to be comfortable or safe. That's from Deuteronomy 8:2-3. But in the midst of our pain, God's plan is still good and his promises remain true. He will deliver us. He will free us. He will redeem us. Exodus 6:6. And come what may, he promises to be with us. Isaiah 43:2. John 16:33 says, I have told you these things so that in me you may have peace. In this world you will have trouble, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And I just want to give credit to the person who wrote this article, if I can find it. It says by guest writer Claire Gibson. listen, I know that there are plenty of people out there who live with just one car. So I know I'm not in slavery here. Oh my gosh. That just embarrasses me to even say that. Like I've got some kind of hardship going on here. It's just dramatically different than a life that I've lived for a long time. And living in the suburbs, you guys know, it's weird, it's like there aren't a lot of sidewalks around here. I really am not, I have no problem walking places. I really don't. I'm willing to do it. But then when I have been trying to do it, I realize how few sidewalks we have and how fast people drive. Oh my gosh, I tried to walk down to a local another neighborhood, and I was nearly peeing my pants trying to cross the road because my kids, I was so afraid my kids were going to get hurt. So anyway, I shared that because, Michael and I, we did this to ourselves. Some of it was just plain old ignorance. I mean, we had no idea some of the health issues that were going to come our way, but some of it was us. We did it. We made bad choices. Shame on us. And we made our own slavery. And now here we are, under a mountain of debt and having to pay it off because we did it to ourselves. And so I think that God's saying, I love you too much to let you ever think again that you want to live in that place of slavery to debt. So I want to just make sure that I underline how awful it is to live in this place so that you never go back. And for me, this living with one car is underlining the uncomfortableness of this place for me. I hate it. I really do. And at the same time, I love it. And you know why? Because it's giving me time to really think about this, to think about how I don't want to be in debt anymore. And it is forcing me to be still. And that's not a bad thing. It's never bad to be still. It's never bad to have time to think. It's never bad to not have activities to go to make you crazy, to keep you distracted. It's never bad to be not distracted, I mean, I know there's people out there who they feel like all they do is bing, 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 all the time. Never have a chance to think. Well, this right now, where I am this season of my life, I am forced to be still and know that He is God. I'm telling you. And that's not a bad thing. Sometimes I fight against it. Sometimes I'm angry. Sometimes I'm shaking my fist. Usually when I'm about to have my period, honestly. Well, sometimes it's because these, the walls of this house are just, I'm done with them. But other times it's so sweet. I lay in the hammock in our backyard and I'm staring up at the trees and I'm like, I love you, Jesus. Or I'm standing in my kitchen and I'm cutting and I'm, making foods from scratch, dinner from scratch. And I'm like, this is so sweet to be able to feed my children and my husband good, wholesome food that I make, And I'm doing my laundry and I have kids from the neighborhood who say, Miss Heather, can I talk to you about something? Would you pray for this kid on my bus who's bullying, whoever? I just had a kid ask me that a couple days ago. If I were running from here, there, and everywhere, this stuff wouldn't happen. So in that sense, it's been a blessing. So there's my update, guys. I don't know when I'll ever drive a car again. I should say a second car. Anyway, God's keeping this car that we do have, though. He's keeping it going. A friend of Michael's graciously, did something to the back brakes because they needed work at a very, very, very reduced price. And we are just so grateful to him. So that car is still going. And I guess that's it about that car. But I really wanted you all to know because it's just an well, I shouldn't say uncommon because like I said earlier, I know there are families out there. I know some people who have told me now that, oh yeah, we're a one-car family too. I know you're out there. But a lot of families do have 2 cars and also think this is an impossibility. But it is a possibility. It takes a lot of planning, a lot of forethought, a lot of thinking ahead of time and scheduling. So, well, thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me take some of your time. I had another topic I want to talk about soon, having to do with the cash envelope system. Just a little update I'm using with some binder clips that I use in my wallet. That's just making the system a little easier. So that's what I'm going to talk about next time. So join me then. Talk to you later, guys. Bye.